Ladies and gentlemen, beautiful souls, today I'm here to tell you something incredibly powerful, something that has the potential to transform your entire life. It's something so simple yet so profound. Your words become your reality. Yes, you heard that right. The very words you speak, the thoughts you think, shape your life and the world around you. Your words are not just sounds, they are vibrations, energy, and they have the power to manifest your destiny. Think about it. How many times have you said something and in hindsight you realize that it became true? Whether it's, I'm never going to make it, or I can do this. Those words shape how you see yourself and the world. Your inner dialogue becomes your outer reality. So let's dive into why and how the words we speak hold so much power. We often underestimate the true power of prayer, thinking it's merely a set of words we say when we need something or when we're feeling hopeless. But let me tell you, prayers are much more than that. They are a force of transformation. They have the incredible ability to reshape us from the inside out. Imagine waking up every day, not just speaking to God or the universe, but speaking to the very core of your being. Every prayer you make is an act of self-evolution, a step towards becoming the person you were always meant to be. I want you to feel this deeply. The power of prayer isn't in what you ask for, but in the process of aligning yourself with something greater than yourself. Take a moment to think about the last time you felt completely out of control. You were overwhelmed, stressed, or unsure of the next step in your life. Now think about when you turn to prayer in those moments. You didn't just ask for a solution. You asked for strength, for guidance, for clarity. You didn't know how the answer would come. But there was something about opening up your heart and soul in that prayer that changed you. Suddenly, a sense of calm began to wash over you. The chaos around you remained, but within you, there was peace. That is the transformation prayer begins to ignite. Consider the example of someone who has been struggling with self-doubt. Day after day, they wake up, go through the motions, but deep inside, they don't believe they're capable of the life they desire. One morning, after feeling particularly lost, they sit down and pray, not for a miracle, but for the courage to believe in themselves. The very act of asking for belief starts the transformation. They don't just ask for validation from others, they start to ask for the strength to believe in their own power. This simple, humble request shifts something within them. Over time, they start seeing opportunities they never noticed before. Their confidence doesn't come from the outside world, it comes from within. Prayer wasn't just a wish, it was the spark that ignited the confidence that was always there. Now think about the person who prays for healing, not just in their body but in their heart. They've experienced heartache, loss or disappointment, and the pain has become a part of them. Every day feels like they're carrying the weight of the world. But in their prayer, they don't just ask for the pain to go away. They ask for the strength to move forward with grace, for the courage to heal in their own time. And slowly, they start to feel lighter. Healing isn't an overnight process, but each prayer acts like a tiny stitch in the fabric of their emotional well-being. They start to see things differently, not as wounds, but as lessons, and they understand that their scars are a part of their strength. Prayer opens up the space for this shift, turning pain into power. Prayers are not just for times of crisis, they are equally transformative in moments of peace. When you pray during the good times, when things are going well, you are reinforcing a sense of gratitude that shapes your outlook on life. You begin to see the blessings around you in a way that others might not. The simple things, the things others take for granted, like a beautiful sunrise, the warmth of a loved one, the ability to take a deep breath, become the foundation of your prayers. You pray not out of desperation, but out of a deep sense of thankfulness for the life you have. This is where transformation begins, because when you are grateful for what you already have, the universe or whatever higher power you believe in gives you more to be thankful for. This cycle of gratitude and abundance grows stronger with each prayer, turning your life into something you can't help but marvel at. It's like the story of someone who has worked tirelessly for a promotion. They've given their all, done everything they were asked to do, and yet there's still no sign of recognition. But they don't give up. Instead, they turn to prayer. They ask not just for the promotion, but for patience and perseverance to stay grounded, through the uncertainty. They pray for wisdom in their current position and the courage to remain steady in their path. Over time, that prayer doesn't just change their circumstances, it changes how they view the situation. They stop seeing it as a failure or setback. They begin to see it as an opportunity for growth, for development, and for discovering their true potential. And when the promotion does finally come, it feels like a victory, not just over external circumstances, but over their own fears and doubts. Their prayer didn't just change their career, it changed their approach to life itself. This is the magic of prayer. It doesn't just fix what's broken. It refines and strengthens what's already there. The person you are today is shaped by your experiences, your choices, and yes, by the prayers you've made along the way. You can't always control what happens to you in life, but you can control the energy you put into your prayers. When you pray with an open heart, with sincerity and humility, you are creating a powerful shift inside you. And as your inner world transforms, so too will your outer world. It's as if you're sending out a signal to the universe that you are ready for change, that you are ready to grow. And the universe, with all its infinite possibilities, begins to conspire in your favor. Prayer has the ability to transcend circumstances. It doesn't matter how deep the pit you find yourself in. It has the power to lift you. When you pray, you open yourself up to endless possibilities. You invite change, clarity, peace, and even love into your life. What's more, you become the catalyst for that transformation. It's not about waiting for something outside of you to change. It's about understanding that prayer is a tool to change you, to elevate your mind, your spirit, and your heart. It's a reminder that you are not alone in this journey and that you are worthy of the beautiful, abundant life you are praying for. When you understand that, you become a magnet for all the goodness the universe has to offer. Imagine waking up every day feeling like you're living someone else's life. You wear a mask, speak in a voice that isn't truly yours, and hide parts of yourself because you're afraid of judgment. You might be successful on the outside, but inside, there's a disconnect. That feeling, that constant tension between who you are and who you pretend to be is exhausting. But here's the truth. The only way to break free from that cycle, to feel whole and alive, is to speak your truth. Speaking your truth isn't just about saying what's on your mind or expressing your opinions. It's about aligning what you say with who you are deep inside. It's about standing tall and saying, this is who I am, and I'm enough. It's about shedding the fear of being judged and realizing that your voice is your power. When you speak your truth, you set yourself free. Think about someone who spent years in a job they don't love, all because they were afraid to say no, to stand up for what they really want. Every day they get up, put on a suit and go through the motions, but their heart isn't in it. Then one day, something clicks. Maybe it's a conversation with a mentor or a moment of quiet reflection, but they realize they've been silencing themselves for too long. They start speaking up. They tell their boss they're ready for new challenges, that they have different ambitions. They stop hiding their passion and begin making choices that align with their true desires. It's terrifying at first. What if they fail? What if they're not good enough? But the moment they speak their truth, something powerful happens. The fear doesn't disappear, but it no longer controls them. They're no longer afraid of living a life that isn't their own. They find courage in their authenticity, and the world starts to open up in ways they never imagined. Now let's look at the story of someone in a relationship. Maybe this person has been in a partnership for years, but there's something inside them that feels off. They love their partner, but they've been suppressing their true feelings for fear of hurting them. They've been afraid to speak up, thinking it might break the relationship or cause conflict. But as time passes, they realize that their silence is a poison, slowly eating away at their happiness. One day, they decide to speak their truth. It's scary, vulnerable, and raw. They sit down with their partner and say, I've been hiding parts of myself, and I don't want to do that anymore. I need us to communicate better, and I need to be true to who I am, even if it's hard. It's a pivotal moment. There's discomfort, yes, but there's also a shift. The relationship may not be perfect after that conversation, but it becomes real. Their connection becomes deeper because they've been brave enough to speak from the heart, They've empowered themselves, and in doing so, they've given their partner the opportunity to do the same. Speaking your truth isn't just about monumental life changes. It can also happen in everyday moments. It's the courage to speak up in a meeting, to offer an idea, even if you're worried about being judged. It's the strength to say no when you don't want to do something, even if it means disappointing someone. It's standing firm in your beliefs, even when the world around you is pushing you to conform. It's about realizing that your truth is valid and powerful, and it deserves to be heard. Imagine the impact this has on your self-worth. Every time you speak your truth, no matter how small the act, you reinforce the belief that you are worthy of being seen and heard. You begin to understand that your voice has value. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And with each word that aligns with your authenticity, you step further into the life you were meant to live. You stop feeling small and start feeling empowered. Take the example of someone who struggled with body image for years. They've been told to fit a certain mold, and for a long time, they've silenced their true feelings about their body. They've told themselves, this is just the way it is. I'm not good enough. But then, one day, they decide to speak their truth. They stop pretending to be okay with what they've been told is normal and start embracing their body as it is. They begin to speak affirmations of love to themselves, acknowledging their worth beyond their appearance. And as they speak their truth, something incredible happens. They stop comparing themselves to others. They stop seeking validation from the outside world and begin finding peace within themselves. This shift doesn't happen overnight, but every day they speak their truth, they become more and more confident in their own skin. When you speak your truth, you create space for growth. The act of being honest with yourself and others is a form of self-respect. You stop pretending, stop faking, and stop hiding. You give yourself permission to be imperfect, to be human, and in doing so, you invite others to do the same. You inspire them to speak their truth too. Think about the impact you can have when you show up authentically. When you allow others to see the real you. You give them the courage to shed their own masks and be real. And that ripple effect can change the world one truth at a time. The beauty of speaking your truth is that it doesn't require perfection. You don't have to have it all figured out, and you don't have to have the right words all the time. What matters is the intention behind your words, the honesty and vulnerability that comes with being true to yourself. When you speak from that place, you empower not only yourself, but also those around you. Speaking your truth isn't easy, it's uncomfortable, it's messy, and it can be terrifying. But that's where the magic lies. Because when you push past the fear, when you embrace vulnerability and speak with conviction, you unlock a level of personal freedom that few ever experience. You begin to realize that the only approval you need is your own. And when you start living in alignment with your truth, you begin to attract the people, opportunities, and experiences that resonate with your authentic self. The world around you shifts, not because of any external circumstance, but because you've started showing up as the real you. And that is when everything changes. Think about the power of words. Every word we speak has the potential to shape our reality, to change our circumstances, and to influence the direction of our lives. But so often, we underestimate the effect that negative words, phrases, or thoughts have on us. When we talk about ourselves, we may not even realize it, but our words can limit us, bind us, and create invisible barriers that keep us from reaching our true potential. What if I told you that you could change everything by simply changing the narrative you tell yourself? By choosing to replace those negative, limiting words with positive, empowering ones, you have the ability to transform your entire life. Let's think about a person who's stuck in a rut, unable to move forward no matter how hard they try. Maybe they've failed before, or they've been told they're not good enough. And over time, those words start to sink in. Every time they fail or face a challenge, they say to themselves, I can't do this, or I'm just not cut out for this. These words, though they may seem small, have the power to stop them in their tracks. They build a wall around them, a barrier made of self-doubt, And every time they speak these words, they reinforce the belief that success is beyond their reach. But imagine if they decided to change the narrative. What if, instead of saying, I can't do this, they said, this is challenging, but I am capable of learning and growing from it? What if, instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, they started saying, I am worthy of success, and I have everything it takes to achieve my dreams? The moment they shift their words, they shift their mindset. And when their mindset shifts, their actions and their results begin to change too. It's the simple but powerful act of speaking with intention, of using words that affirm their worth and their potential. In that moment, their future is no longer dictated by past failures. Instead, it is shaped by the possibility of what they can accomplish when they believe in themselves. Take the example of someone who's constantly told by others, you'll never make it, it's too late for you. For years, this person has internalized these words, believing that they missed their chance. They've told themselves, I'm too old, or I've already messed up too much. These negative words create an identity for them, one that feels stuck in the past, unable to break free from the weight of what others have said or what they've told themselves. But one day, they decide to change the narrative. Instead of listening to the voice of doubt, they begin to tell themselves, it's never too late for me to start over. Every day is a new opportunity. They begin speaking words of encouragement to themselves. They start saying, I am not defined by my past mistakes. I am defined by my determination and my ability to rise. And with each positive affirmation, they begin to shift not only their mindset, but their life's trajectory. They take new actions, they pursue new goals, and they realize that the story they've been telling themselves was just that, a story. The narrative can be rewritten at any moment. And by changing the words they speak, they change their reality. Words, however, don't just shape our internal world, they also shape how we interact with others. Think about the impact of speaking positively to someone else. How often do we praise others, lift them up, and remind them of their strengths? The world can sometimes feel heavy, and people are carrying their own struggles. But imagine the difference you could make by speaking positive words, by changing the narrative in your conversations with others. It's easy to point out flaws, to criticize, or to focus on what's going wrong. But think about the power you have when you choose to speak words that empower instead of discourage. Take the example of a manager at work who sees an employee struggling. It would be easy to focus on what the person is doing wrong, to point out their mistakes. But what if instead the manager took a different approach? What if they said, I know this is tough, but I believe in you. I know you have the skills to succeed, and I'm here to help you get there. These words not only motivate the employee, but also change the entire atmosphere of the workplace. Instead of reinforcing a cycle of failure, the manager is creating a cycle of support, encouragement, and growth. Positive words have the ability to spark change in others just as much as they do within ourselves. The beauty of changing the narrative with positive words is that it's not just about what you say to others. It's also about what you say to yourself. Think about the times you've faced challenges. Maybe you've been through difficult situations, loss, failure, rejection. It's easy in those moments to fall into negative self-talk, to believe that things will never get better, to feel like you're not strong enough to overcome the obstacles in your path. But when you change your internal dialogue, when you speak words of hope, resilience, and strength, you shift your energy. You no longer see yourself as a victim of circumstances, but as a person capable of overcoming anything life throws your way. Imagine someone going through a tough breakup. It's painful and it feels like their world is falling apart. But instead of saying, I'll never find love again, or I'm not worthy of a healthy relationship, they decide to change their narrative. They start saying, this may be hard, but it is an opportunity for growth. I am learning from this and I will emerge stronger. They begin speaking words that reflect their strength, their resilience, and their belief in the future. Slowly, those words begin to heal the wounds of the past and they begin to move forward with hope, rather than being stuck in the hurt. By choosing to speak with intention, they are rewriting their story and shaping a future where love and happiness are possible. Every day you are presented with the opportunity to change the narrative. The words you speak, whether to yourself, to others, or about your circumstances, have the power to change your life. When you choose to speak words that are positive, affirming, and empowering, you align yourself with the life you want to create. You stop being a passive participant in your own story, and instead you become the author of your own destiny. You have the power to rewrite the script, to change the direction of your life, and to create a reality that reflects your true potential. The narrative is yours to shape, and the words you speak will guide you every step of the way. Think about the way you walk into a room, the energy you bring with you, and how people begin to perceive you even before you say a word. Your presence speaks volumes about you, but what truly defines how others perceive you is the way you speak. Words are the window through which others see your soul. The choice of words you make shapes your identity and defines how others experience you. Whether you realize it or not, the words you speak hold immense power, and with that power comes the responsibility to craft your own narrative. You might have heard it said, first impressions are everything. But what makes that impression last isn't just the way you look or the way you carry yourself, it's the words you use and how you communicate them. Let's look at the example of someone in a workplace environment. Imagine a young professional, freshly hired, entering a room filled with seasoned experts. The moment they open their mouth, they are given a chance to define their place in this professional world. If their words are tentative, filled with self-doubt or uncertainty, it reflects on their confidence and their ability to take on challenges. On the other hand, when they speak with conviction, clarity, and purpose, even the most experienced colleagues start to look at them with respect. The words you choose to express yourself with are the key to commanding that respect. A person who speaks confidently, even if they don't know everything, will often be perceived as more capable and reliable than someone who constantly apologizes for speaking up. By owning their words, they gain ownership of their identity, and people begin to perceive them not just as someone who is learning, but as someone who is capable and worthy of respect. This doesn't just apply to professionals. Think about your personal life. How do you communicate with those closest to you? Your partner, friends, family. Every conversation you have with them shapes their perception of who you are. Imagine a friend who always speaks negatively, constantly complaining about their life, their job, and their relationships. Over time, those around them begin to perceive them as someone who lacks positivity, who is always stuck in a cycle of negativity. No matter how great their potential may be, the words they choose will trap them in a negative space, where they are seen as someone who struggles to find joy or gratitude. On the other hand, a friend who speaks with gratitude, who frames their challenges as opportunities for growth, is seen as resilient, strong, and hopeful. This person's words allow them to be perceived as someone who is not only moving through life, but thriving in it. The energy you create with your words influences how others see you, and it dictates the space you occupy in their lives. Now think about a time when you've had a difficult conversation. Maybe it was with someone you care about, someone you wanted to express your feelings to. How did you choose your words? Were they filled with anger, hurt, and blame? Or were they filled with understanding, empathy, and openness? In an argument or difficult situation, words have the ability to heal or destroy. The way you communicate your frustrations can either make the other person feel understood or make them feel attacked. Imagine if you're trying to resolve a disagreement with your partner, and instead of attacking them or blaming them, you choose words that acknowledge their feelings, such as, "I understand why you feel that way, and I can see how that impacted you." These words have the power to soften the conversation and lead to a resolution that strengthens the relationship rather than one that causes further harm. The way you express your emotions, without judgment, without blame, shapes how others perceive your maturity, your wisdom, and your ability to communicate effectively. One powerful example comes from the world of public speaking. Think of someone like a motivational speaker or a leader who addresses a large crowd. The words they choose shape not only their reputation, but also their ability to influence and inspire. Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous "I Have a Dream" speech didn't just echo through history because of its content, but because of the way the words resonated with the hearts and minds of millions. The same principle applies in everyday life. When you speak words that connect deeply with others, you don't just share information, you inspire, uplift, and ignite action. Your words create a ripple effect, and that ripple touches everything and everyone around you. The impact of words is immeasurable because they shape not just how you are seen, but how you make others feel about themselves and their own potential. What about the way you talk to yourself? Self-talk, the internal dialogue you engage in daily, influences how others perceive you. If you constantly put yourself down, telling yourself that you are not good enough, capable enough, or deserving of success, others will pick up on that energy. It's not just what you say out loud, but how you say it in your mind. But if you choose to speak kindly to yourself, if you affirm your worth, your capabilities, and your potential, you'll notice a shift in the way others respond to you. People are intuitive and they can sense when someone believes in themselves. When you carry yourself with the confidence of knowing your worth, others will begin to reflect that confidence back to you. They will perceive you as someone who is not afraid to take risks, someone who knows their value and isn't afraid to demand respect. Let's take the example of a teacher in a classroom. A teacher's words can either inspire or crush a student's spirit. When a teacher speaks with encouragement, patience, and support, they foster an environment where students feel safe to take risks, to ask questions, and to explore new ideas. Their words give students permission to fail and try again. On the other hand, a teacher who uses words to criticize, belittle, or discourage a student will create an atmosphere of fear, and those students will begin to perceive themselves as incapable, unworthy of success. The words spoken in a classroom shape the very future of the students in that room. And the same is true in life. The words you speak, whether to a colleague, a friend, or a stranger, are the keys to unlocking opportunities and relationships that reflect your inner strength. In every interaction you have, the words you speak shape the world around you. The power of language is extraordinary, and how you speak is how you are perceived. Words define who you are, not just in the moment, but in the long-term perception others have of you. Whether you're aware of it or not, your words influence how you are seen, how you are heard, and the opportunities that come your way. Be intentional with your words, for in them lies the power to shape your life and the lives of those around you. How others perceive you isn't just about your actions, it's about the energy you bring with your words. And that energy will determine the path your life takes. Affirmations are not just words, they are the foundation upon which you build the life you want to live. Every single successful person has understood the secret that most people overlook. What you say to yourself, day in and day out, shapes the life you experience. Think about it. Have you ever wondered how some people seem to have it all? Success, confidence, happiness, and others seem to be struggling no matter how hard they try? It's not just about circumstances or luck. It's the inner dialogue they have with themselves. The way they speak to themselves, the affirmations they repeat, are what set them apart from the rest. Let me share a powerful example. There was a young woman, Sarah, who always dreamed of becoming a doctor. But growing up in a low-income family, it seemed impossible. The voices around her, including her own self-doubt, told her that people like her couldn't break into such an elite field. But Sarah wasn't one to give up easily. Every day, she started her day by looking into the mirror and saying, "I am worthy of success. I am capable of achieving my dreams." She didn't just say it once and forget about it. She repeated it with unwavering belief. As the days went on, those words became more than just a mantra. They became the truth that guided her every action. When faced with challenges, when the doubts crept in, she had her affirmations to fall back on. She visualized herself in medical school, standing confidently in front of a class, helping patients. The more she affirmed her success, the more her actions aligned with her words. Before long, she was not just dreaming of becoming a doctor, she was living it. Today, Sarah is a respected physician, and it all started with the words she chose to speak to herself every single day. This is the power of affirmations. They are not mere positive statements thrown into the universe. They are seeds planted in the soil of your mind. When watered with belief and consistency, they grow into the reality you experience. Think about how you've approached your goals in the past. When you tell yourself, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "it's too hard," Those words create mental barriers that block your potential. Your subconscious mind absorbs those words and starts to align your thoughts and actions with that limiting belief. But when you flip the script and replace those self-defeating thoughts with powerful affirmations like, I am capable, I am worthy, and I can achieve anything I set my mind to, you start to rewire your brain for success. Take, for example, a job interview. Imagine you've been working hard to land your dream job. But when you sit down for the interview, you start to doubt yourself. The voice inside your head says, I'm not qualified enough. What if they don't like me? These thoughts begin to cloud your judgment and lower your confidence. But what if, before that interview, you told yourself, I am the perfect fit for this job. I bring value and I am ready for this opportunity. If you walk into the interview with that belief, your energy shifts. You radiate confidence and your words reflect that certainty. Even if you don't know every answer, your affirmations have already set you up for success. Your interviewer will see that confidence, and that alone could be the reason you land the job. The beauty of affirmations lies in their ability to transform your mindset. They can turn failure into opportunity, fear into courage, and uncertainty into clarity. One of the most common struggles people face is a lack of self-belief. They question their worth, their potential, and their ability to overcome obstacles. This is where affirmations come in. They help bridge the gap between where you are and where you want to be. When you affirm that you are capable, deserving, and powerful, you